51 degrees now, 10 minutes past 8 o'clock. Good morning to you and happy Friday. And good morning and welcome to my guest in the studio from Hospice of Orange and Sullivan Counties. Cierra Mejia is here. Good morning and welcome. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Oh, not too bad. I'm so glad that you made the drive to come into the studio this morning to talk to us about hospice, but we're really going to take this in a different direction than people may be expecting. You're in the Human Resources Department of Hospice.
Correct, yes.
And you would love to tell people what it's like to work there.
Yeah, I have such a great, interesting story with Hospice of Orange and Sullivan, and so I always like to share my story.
Oh, please.
Hopefully inspire other people.
Okay.
So I actually started with hospice part-time, answering the phones, and I was kind of like most young professionals. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And hospice, they took me in. I started part-time with them, and opening opened up in the Human Resources Department for an HR assistant. And I got into the groove. I really liked it, and I thought, hey, maybe this is something that I can do. So one day I walked into my director of HR's office, sat her down, and I said, what do I have to do to be you one day? And
I like that. Hello, I want your job.
And she said to me words that I'll never forget. She told me to go back to school, to learn as much as I could, and to ask all the right questions.
Oh, wow. And that's what you did, and it worked for you.
Yeah, that's what I did. I've been with hospice about 5 years now. And in those 5 years, I've had about 4 different positions with hospice.
You've been promoted regularly.
Yes.
Yes. And hospice is hiring now. What kind of positions?
So right now, we're definitely focused on registered nurses. So throughout healthcare right now, there's a shortage on nurses. So we're looking for nurses. We're also looking for chaplains and some administrative staff right now for our finance department.
Okay. Do you find, well, now you didn't start working in the healthcare field. You said that your history was in retail before you went to hospice. So can you tell us, though, what is the difference between working at hospice and working at another healthcare setting?
Well, I think for me, one of the things that I've been able to experience is with hospice, we're definitely people-centric. And that comes with our patients. We're focused on our patients' quality and the experience that they have at hospice, but also our employees. One of the mentalities that we've adopted at hospice is if we're doing right by our employees, we're doing right by the organization.
Wow. Wow. So if someone is interested in applying, what should they do?
So we do post our positions on our website. We also advertise on Indeed, but one of the things I always recommend too is even if you don't see a role that aligns with the skills that you have, send a resume in anyway to our human resources email, because so many times I've seen people submit their qualifications and we've actually created positions for them.
Wow.
When we've been able to. Out of the 4 positions that I've had, 2 were created individually for me. They didn't exist before in the organization.
Do you find that it's a little bit of a stumbling block when you tell people, I work in human resources at hospice? Do you find that some people don't want to apply there because they fear that it would be too depressing every day?
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely one of the deterrents from hospice. What I like to tell everybody, especially people who are afraid of death and dying, they might wonder how they can handle being in that type of environment. And having that fear alone shows me the kind of person that you are. It shows me that you're compassionate and that you're caring.
Oh.
And if you're interested in feeling that way, that's exactly the type of people that we want. We want people who are caring.
I had not put that together in my mind, but that's really wonderful that you did. Yes. I did have a family experience with hospice. My mom was in the Kaplan facility, and there was such a huge difference between the way she was cared for there and before, when she was in a facility that, well, care was the main word. They really did care for my mom in hospice, and the caring people just stood out all over the place. It was a wonderful experience. And if you have someone who is in terminal stages, it's so peaceful. For the whole family, it was very comforting.
Definitely. And I think part of that also comes from the type of organization you work for. And one of the things that we share in our orientation classes is that modern day hospice was actually created by Dame Cicely Saunders because she fell in love with a terminally ill man. So I like to say that hospice was literally born out of love.
Oh, and it just gave me chills. That's lovely. Yes.
And so that's, the type of role that we want to provide for our staff members who come in. We want people who are going to be nurturing and caring and compassionate. And that starts with us. We have to set the example as leaders.
That's lovely. Now, you mentioned the website, but we haven't told people what the website is. I have it up in front of me now. It's hospiceoforange.com. And the actual title is Hospice of Orange and Sullivan, but you're too nice to make people type all of that into the web browser. So, yes. And let's see, where would we go on the page for jobs?
There's a careers section.
Okay.
Or if
there it is.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, so just go to hospiceoforange.com and everything. Careers are right at the top of the page. I was so busy looking down, I didn't notice it. And, there are people who work there who are just so kind and careful and caring. And that's the whole point that you were saying. You deal with the employees, one individual at a time, because you have to deal with the patients.
Absolutely.
One at a time. What do you need? Let's give it to you.
And I think, too, being a support person and not on the direct lines, one of the things that I've instilled in our managers, but also my staff on the HR team, is a lot of times HR leaders forget that the first word of human resources is human. So anyone can be a resource, but we really try to remember to be human, too.
That helps. It helps an awful lot. Thank you so much. I want to hear more. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more. Cierra Mejia is here from Hospice of Orange and Sullivan on Wall Radio. 8:20 at Wall Radio, 52 degrees. With me in the studio, Cierra Mejia from Hospice of Orange and Sullivan. She's, are you the human resources director? What's your title? I didn't write that down. I'm sorry.
I'm the human resources manager.
Manager. Okay. And she's here talking about careers with hospice. We're kind of helping you, give you a little bit of boost and let people know you're looking for a lot of registered nurses, but other positions as well. For what areas? Where would they have to drive to?
Right now, for the registered nurses, we have a few open positions in our Kaplan Family Hospice Residence. So that's an inpatient facility located in Newburgh. And then we have a couple case manager positions. So they travel to the patient's homes. So the territories we're looking for right now are the Monroe area and the Newburgh area.
Okay.
But we're open to receive resumes wherever you are.
Okay. Now, I know that there was, you are a success story for Human Resources of Hospice, but there was another one, excuse me, there was another success story from a newsletter that I saw, a hospice newsletter, and I wanted you to perhaps let us know about it.
Yeah, so oftentimes we receive employees because they've had a personal experience with hospice. And so the newsletter had highlighted a registered nurse that had recently started with us, and her father was being cared for by Hospice of Orange and Sullivan. And she was so impressed with the quality of care, the peace, the comfort that we brought not only to him, but to their entire family, that she decided, hey, I think this is something that I can do. And I think what really stood out for her was the philosophy of the care that we have. So a lot of times with hospice, it's pretty well known that it's not curative, it is end of life. But what we can't cure physically or medically, there's a transformation sometimes in a healing that we see with the emotional and spiritual aspects of care.
Okay. Okay. And yes, because of this one person's experience with her father being under hospice care, she decided to work for you. And she's still there now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And I found also with my family's experience with hospice that I'm not like I was going to go work there, but I saw such a difference in the people that work there. And recently, I don't know if anyone has seen the videos on Facebook from someone called Hospice Nurse Julie, who's decided to make it her mission in life to make videos so that people aren't so afraid of the word hospice. Have you seen those?
Yeah, I've seen a few of them.
I think she does a pretty good job.
Yeah, she does.
And if you wanted to Google Hospice Nurse Julie, I'm not saying that she works for Hospice of Orange and Sullivan. I don't know where she works. But she does good videos to explain what hospice is about and the fact that life is a very natural thing, and leaving it is also a natural process. And I think she does a really wonderful job. I bet she's a great nurse to work with.
Yeah.
You're going to try and recruit her?
I'll try.
Okay. If she's listening, Julie, come to the Hudson Valley.
I think too, what you were touching on about Hospice Nurse Julie, the thing with hospice nursing, especially one of the major attractive moments is when people work in different types of nursing, they might not know what happens to the patient afterwards, or they might not get that family interaction that they get with hospice. And so with hospice, the unique thing is they're with the patient from the time of admission until the end of their journey. And they really get to ensure that that quality of care is there. And oftentimes you've heard the statement, people might not remember what you do or what you say, but they'll remember how you made them feel.
That's the whole point. Yes. And hospice is there to comfort the patient, but they also end up comforting the family members.
Absolutely. So we provide bereavement services up to 13 months after the patient dies as well.
Wow.
So even after the patient ends their journey, we're still alongside the families.
So if some other company was listening to you and said, this HR lady knows her stuff, she knows what she's talking about, and if some other company tried to recruit you right now, would you leave hospice?
Absolutely not.
I figured. But I can tell that you find your job very fulfilling.
Absolutely. The thing for me, too, is I've had such a personal and professional transformation, but it's really made me a better daughter, a better sister, a better friend, a better partner. Realizing that life is so short and it can change in such a blink of an eye helps you to really maximize those moments that you get to have.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah.
Is there anything we've forgotten to cover? I don't think so. You did great.
I would just, urge anyone who's listening who might be thinking about a hospice career, give us a try. And one of the things that we've always say is invest in us and we'll invest in you. We have adopted this mentality of investing in people and not things.
Tuition reimbursement?
Yep. Tuition reimbursement helped me go back to school.
Okay. Yes.
Lots of great benefits that we offer. Work-life balance with creative scheduling opportunities. There's a lot of autonomy, especially when you're working as an RN case manager in the field.
Sure, you're on the field. You have to do whatever occurs to you is the right thing. Good.
Of course, growth opportunities, which I've been able to take a part of.
You're a poster child for that. Thank you so much for being here today. And once again, to contact them, to check out what careers are available, check out the website, hospiceoforange.com. Thank you so much, Cierra.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yes, and a wonderful weekend to you. We have time to slip in a song before the news at the bottom of the hour. Looking for something. Still haven't figured out what we're looking for. Must be greatest hit music. Yeah. Oh, we found that. We're Wall Radio, and here's you two.